Hey everybody, we are live here at HF Pod headquarters, distributed throughout the country. We got a lot of headquarters. Brian's at the Rocky Mountain headquarters. Brian, how's it going out there?
61 degrees and sunny. It's beautiful.
Wow.
Wow.
We've re-entered the best part of the year in Denver. It was pretty cold for a while. Really cold, a lot of snow. Probably going to get some more snow. I'm not going to count it out. Always happens. But it's really nice out here right now. Tell you what. How about you guys?
Megan's at the city headquarters. You don't even have to say what city it is. It's just she's
The
at the
city.
The city. That's what we call it here. The city. Yeah, things are okay in the city. This is the heartland of the resistance. So we're okay. We're doing the best we can.
Good. I'm proud of you guys. Well, do you want to say anything about the weather, Megan?
It's still pretty cold here, but I feel good about the fact that we had a proper winter here. It was confusing when it was really warm here, when it was supposed to be cold. So it's been a cold, snowy winter, and I'll take that. I like that. I'll be happy when it's over, but it's okay. Yeah.
I think cold's great. I don't know why everyone has such a problem with it.
I mean, it's not my favorite, but I like the seasons. I like the seasons to change. I'd like more sunshine, but
she moved to
I
Colorado.
like seasons.
Pretty sunny.
Well,
I know. I really should.
Okay, there's a couple things I got to tell you guys about. First of all, this is a show about fish. It's unofficially a show also about Goose, and I think we all want to send our regards out to Jeff from Goose, who just put out a statement that he's stepping back from the road. But if you're listening, Jeff, probably listening. I mean, everyone listens. But when you listen, Jeff, know that we're all thinking about you. Crazy.
Yes,
Goose goes back on tour tomorrow, right?
Wow, yeah.
Goose tour starts tomorrow, yeah. It'll be interesting to see how everything sounds and what the band is like. But yeah, absolutely heartfelt thoughts for Jeff. That is got to be a hard message to send out and a hard decision to make and can't be taken lightly. So thoughts there.
Yeah, and it's nice to see people taking care of themselves. That's important, as Chapel Rowan pointed out this week.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, what else? We got there are new reprise shows as of yesterday, guys. I know everyone knows, probably, maybe, hopefully, but we got a February 27th show in Rhode Island. We got the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. That's in Worcester, Saratoga, New York, and then New Hope. And we just announced 3 new shows: April 17th at Nectar's, April 18th at Broadbrook, Connecticut, and then April 19th back at the Iron Horse in Northampton. So bunch of new shows. We'll probably do something maybe with one of the band members leading up to those shows, if Brian approves.
Oh, we should. That'd be awesome.
It's a great call, RJ. We got I'm just looking at the HF Pod schedule right now. We got one more roundtable before we launch our series. So I think that's what we should do, is bring on someone from Reprise and talk through Reprise stuff.
What I don't get a vote on this? It's just if Brian says it's okay?
What do you think, Meg? Downvote.
I'd love an idea.
Do it.
I think it's a great idea.
I think
I love Reprise. I'm a huge Reprise fan. And I'm definitely going to be in the Brooklyn Bowl show. And I'm going to try to make it up to Northampton because that venue is awesome.
It is. You should have been there last time.
I have to do this thing called work. I don't know. It's kind of weird. But yeah, maybe I can be there this time. We'll see. Hopefully.
I just got a text from my friend Karina Reichman, who's playing her biggest show yet on May 10th at Webster Hall in New York. Megan, we should talk about that. We should probably go to that.
Yeah, we should go. Let's do it. That'd be fun.
I think tickets are on sale now. So we should go. I think I'm gonna go. Okay.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Hometown show for Karina.
Hometown show. Okay, so we announced our Mount Rushmore series last week, and believe it or not, we already have some votes in. So if you want your vote to count, Brian, do we have an official date for our Bathtub Gin Rushmore episode?
Yeah, we don't have a date. It'll be the week of March 3rd. So keep an eye out. We need to do some scheduling, but it'll be 4 weeks from today. We'll be starting it out.
It looks like we have about 100 votes so far for the people's top 4 bathtub gins.
No way. That's amazing.
Yeah, but people, we need more. We need to get your input, so we can make fun of the things that you guys vote for. So make sure you go to osirispod.com/Rushmore and vote for your but send in your top 4 versions of Bathtub Gin. We do need some reprise in Colorado, so that's something Brian's going to have to figure out for us. Right, Brian?
I've got a backyard, nice little patio we can set up. I've got a couple extension cords I can provide. No, but we
cooking?
should
You have a
definitely.
nice backyard. That'd be killer.
I will get out the flat top. I will cook up some smash burgers for everyone. Play all night, do a Cypress gig in my backyard, and I'll cook hash browns and eggs for everyone while they're doing it. No, but we should definitely talk about that, RJ, because I don't know if you're aware of this, but the city of Denver, there's a lot of jam band fans out here. We don't totally know what's going to be happening this summer with Fish. There's lots of rumors flying around. Where are they going to play? When are they going to play? Wherever it happens, whenever it happens, it might be nice to slide in a little bit of a reprise before or after the gig. I'm just going to say.
That's a good idea.
Megan, what else do you have? Do you have any news for us?
Well, thinking of Bathtub Gin, I do have a little bit of news for you. I got to sit down this week with Mike Horn for Seawind a Battery for a new moment with Meg. It's been a little bit of time. You know, you guys kept me so busy with HF Pod last year that I had to take a little bit of a break from that show to just kind of get my head above water. But I'm back and I recorded with Mike. I went to his rehearsal space out in Greenpoint this week. We had an awesome conversation and he mentioned the Ventura Gin in our conversation. Just going to let you know, he did. We had a great conversation though, and I'm really excited to put that out. So that'll be out soon. That's my news.
It's a very nice bathtub gin.
It's a pretty good one.
I will say, I don't want to give anything away, but that is on the large list.
Yes.
It's on the large list.
Yeah.
The way that
how
we
many
do
lists
this,
are
we have
there?
a large. Well, we had the large. So there's the jam chart, which includes like 75 8-minute versions because Trey played a different riff 4.5 minutes into the song. But then there's the large list, which are like, hey, these are the versions everyone needs to hear, which I'm sure we'll be publishing at some point. But then we are whittling that down to the four core versions: your Washington, your Jefferson, your Lincoln, your Roosevelt. There's a lot to consider if we're going to think about it in that sort of rubric. And so I'm trying to figure out. I'm doing a lot of work right now. I'm getting prepped for our Fish albums draft, which is next week. Next week, we're going to be doing that. Listening to every Fish studio album in a row and making diligent notes about where they should be selected. And then once that finishes, I'm diving into Bathtub Gin to figure out our 4 core versions. Just a lot of stuff happening right now over here in HF Podland. A lot of work. I think that we convinced ourselves we were doing less work in 2025 with this project. And as I'm creating these large lists of jams we each need to listen to as we build out our top 4, I'm realizing it's basically going to be the exact same amount of music as I would have listened to leading up to a Top Tours episode. It's just
no, don't tell me that, Brian.
Now.
Don't tell me that.
It's a lot.
It is.
It's a lot.
Oh no.
You should take a look at the spreadsheet. I've filled out our first 7 episodes. So
oh god, I only looked at the Bathtub Gin one. Now I'm nervous. Okay, well, I did it last year. I can do it again this year.
It's gonna be fun. Everything's gonna be fine, everybody.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Can I tell you guys a story about the Ventura Gin just at a perfect moment being played? I think you guys will appreciate this. It was after the Goose Cap shows, and we all went to this bar. That's a very fun bar, and the whole place was just packed with Goose fans. And I have to give him credit. Young Ryan Storm went and played the Ventura Gin on the jukebox, and it crushed. It was just an unbelievable moment. Everybody was so happy, and it was just like the perfect moment. So, good job, Ryan.
I wasn't aware he knew of Fish music before 2018, so that's impressive.
Yeah,
that's a great segue though, because we should announce, if we haven't already, that not next week, but the week after, the week of 2/17, on actually February 17th, which is President's Day, which you guys have off, but me working in a public institution here in the state of Colorado, I don't get it off. I still got to work. We are going to have Ryan Storm on to talk about Mexico 2019 for two reasons. It was a really good run, and also so that he can stop assaulting me and asking me to have him on to talk about Mexico 2019.
Finally, you can get rid of that text thread.
Those are good reasons.
Mhm.
Okay, so we are here to talk about Mexico 2025, based on my understanding. Megan, what's your story? What's your headline for this run?
I thought this was a really strong Mexico. You know, the 8th time they're playing there. I thought the band really benefited from the kind of earlier dates closer to MSG. They sounded so tight. I think Mike continues to be incredible, just MVP for me, showing so much leadership. I think that they did a lot of stretching out and jamming within the bounds of the song. So we had a lot of like 12, 13-minute jams. And then we had some really great flow, some great set list choices, a fair amount of repeats from MSG, but also some other stuff thrown in there. And I think a lot of it's going to hold up on re-listen because we have about, I'd say 4 or 5 to 6 like really good jams.
Brian, what about you?
I mean, I think that that's it. I think that headline, the bar is almost too high now. It's something I've been thinking about a
Yeah.
lot since this run ended. If you go back to New Year's Eve run 2022, from there to now, we're in a pretty unprecedented period in Fish history. I don't think we've had this kind of consistent greatness since the mid 90s, to be honest. Even when things would peak in 3.0, they would kind of dip down for a tour or two as the band kept figuring things out. I think now we're at a point where it's just like they play music and it's awesome. And so it's a lot about
Yeah.
like the nuances within there. And I think, you know, to your point, Meg, like musically, minimalistic groove jamming is kind of what I'm hearing a ton of right now. It's a little bit different. If you think about these like big expansionary jams that happened in late 23, early 24, it seems like they're trying to find this like connective tissue within a groove and really hang on
Mhm.
that and really build on that. And a lot of the jams from this run were less about like how far astray from the song can we go, but more can we just like make slightly different music and explore that within the theme of the song. You almost got that immediately with Sand on night one, and then it built from there. So just excited to dive into that. What did you think, RJ? What's your big headline?
Yeah, I mean, I think a continuation of 2024, like
Mhm.
really just they're so like just that Sand, coming out of the gate, like so tight. Listening was great. There it hit the ground running. There wasn't really, I mean, there were like things that I would quibble with, but there wasn't like really any downtime in these shows. Like every set was pretty high energy and had some highlights, even like the MoMA dance and the Sand and like some things that I don't know that like that wouldn't necessarily caught my attention. We'll talk about some of the other ones like in a bunch of second sets, but yeah, I mean, I think you're right. What you said, Brian, they're just like, I mean, I guess maybe can we just say that they're just like awesome? It's awesome and fun. And
Yeah.
that's like the main thing.
Yeah, they are awesome and fun, but I think they're also like I think Trey's doing a really good job set listing. I thought these were set listed really well. There was only a couple times when he kind of fell back into like the same old, but I think he really played some like really great sets of the shows, just calling some really good songs. And the flow, I think, really stood out, even more than MSG.
Oh
Like
yeah.
more consistently throughout the 4 shows too. I mean, the first show has some of the best flow of any show they've played in a while. Like there's no monster jam, but it has such an incredible flow and it's a really good set list. If there was like 1 or 2 monster jams in that show, it would be like an absolutely perfect show.
Night one also, I don't know if we want to dive into this
Yeah.
quite
Yeah,
so
go for it.
deep yet, but like
Yeah.
I think you should
night, I'm gonna do it then. Thank you
do
for
it.
the improvement, guys. I really appreciate it. Just really
Do
important
it.
Brian,
to
you
ask
should
this
do it,
question.
Brian. Go
I'm
ahead.
doing it. I'm doing it. All right. So this is something I've been thinking about because we are now in an era where the band is no longer playing 70-minute sets, 75-minute sets.
Mhm.
It is now almost a given coming out of Sphere that you are getting an 85 to 90-minute long set, which is a very different beast than a 70 to 75-minute long set. It may not seem like those 15 minutes make a huge difference, but it really does, because that's potentially 2 more songs, or that's potentially 1
Mhm.
more jam vehicle. And I think that we're seeing the band, and Trey, I don't wanna say struggle, but, like, what do we do at 65 minutes to end this set? How do we transition at that point in time? And I think that night 1 is the best example of that. I was talking with friend of the pod, Justin Bruce, also the host of the Vice or Virtue podcast, which is now in Osiris. Eggy is kicking off their tour here
Hell
tonight.
yeah.
Going to get a lot of Vice or Virtue content in the next couple of weeks. Definitely check that out. But we were talking, because to me, this second set from night 1 is the set of the run. You've got this great trio to open of Set Your Soul Free, Cities, and Light. And then coming out of Light, there's kind of this decision to be made. We're about 35, 40 minutes into the set at this point in time. Where do we go? Do we go ballad? Do we go another jam vehicle? What happens now? And Trey makes this really good call of a classic Mike's Groove, which is going to eat up about 25 minutes of the set, get us towards the latter end of the set. But that does a nice job of, like, it's something very familiar. It's something nobody really argues with. Nobody really,
Yeah.
find me a Fish fan who, if you hear a classic Mike's Groove at a show, they're pissed off. Like, seriously, find me
Yeah.
that person. But then coming out of it, we get, here's a point where a 2001 could go, that just kind of like transitions us to the end, or a Possum could go,
Night
or
4.
a, about, yeah, what they ultimately did on night 4. But instead, here we get this like really cool 13 minutes, like silky, groovy, kind of seedy version of Twist, which then goes
Mm.
into Numberline to close it out. And to me, like, that decision there of Mike's Groove versus ballad, and then Twist versus, your Santos or your Golgi into Susie Greenberg, that changes the dynamics of the set. It makes it much more fluid. It's much more of a, you press play on Set Your Soul Free, and you don't let up. And I think that's something that they're still figuring out. I think immediately back to one of the nights at Dick's that has this like great 4-song run, and then you kind of get in the middle of it. I'm going to try to find it here while I'm talking, but you kind of get in the middle of it a bit of like a lull and then a conclusion to it. Give me 1 second to pull this up here. It is 8:31. You get Loving Cup, Kill Devil Falls, What's Going Through Your Mind, Cross-Eyed, Split Open and Melt. Wow, holy crap. That is basically a set of Fish a year ago. And then you get Monsters and Carini, neither of which to me really felt like they fit the larger vibe of the set prior. So it kind of felt like just an add-on almost. And the alternative here is what we got on night 1 in Mexico, where the band just felt like from Set Your Soul Free to the end, it was just total fluidity. I don't know if you guys agree with that or what your thoughts are on that.
I think that night is the only night they really nailed the fourth quarter.
Agree
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah. Totally.
I mean,
Right.
yeah. If you look at the
Yeah.
rest of these, they kind of, like, the next night you
Yeah.
get Out of Piper, Taste Shade, Wedge, Zero, Chalk Dust, a 6-minute Chalk Dust, and then most events aren't planned. And then finally on the last night, you get Mercy 2001 More. So yeah, this is the only one
Yeah.
where they really kind of nail it. It's a yin and yang there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's funny because after night 1, I thought that's the best you can get for night 1. But the more I think about it, it's actually really, really good on its own. Like, it doesn't have to just be for night 1. It's an awesome show. The first set has 8 songs in it, which is perfect. And some stretch out a little bit. There's really connected playing. There's no duds in this first set. And I think that, even like the Kill Devil Falls and the Ghost both kind of like stretch out a little bit. You can feel them like kind of warming up a little bit. And then, yeah, I mean, the second set perfectly described by you, Brian. And I also think the encore, My Sweet One and a Carini that actually gets a little weird at the end and like kind of like pushes at the boundaries of like, I love when they come out for an encore and actually like fuck around a little bit. And Trey's like teasing Karina in there. Like, I'm just glad they didn't play it because I want to hear that song again. But in live, I want to be there. But that is a great way to end a show. Like, leave everybody like wanting more. I think they really nailed that show. It's probably top to bottom the best show of the run. It just doesn't have that big jam.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree completely. That is my show of the run. If we're like taking a complete package here.
One of the things I noticed in
Mhm.
that show and overall is like Paige is playing in the Ghost. Toward the end, he moves from like the synths to the piano toward the end of the jam, and it's
Mhm.
so complimentary, and it helps like land the jam so well. And in Cities also, his synth contributions are just like they're like slow but really fit well, really like a little haunting, but like perfectly in sync with everything else going on. I heard a lot of Paige that I thought was just so complimentary to everything else they were doing. All 4 nights, but the first night, like they were all just, it was kind of, they were just right back to where they left off, you know?
Yeah, they were so locked in. And that Cities, I know exactly what you're talking about because Trey had like a watery effect on his guitar, and it sounds so nice, like paired up with what Paige was doing. And I agree completely. Like, there's so many jams in here, which we'll talk about, but that Paige just absolutely brings so much texture and layer to them. I thought in general, like I was hearing Mike a lot on this run, but I think all 4 of them were playing really strong. Like, I think they sound all really, really strong.
It kind of gets to what I was saying earlier from a minimalistic standpoint. It feels like the most intra-band communication that you could
Yeah.
imagine. It's not like um like the jams from last year in Mexico, which were so expansive, felt like certain band members, like the Chalk Dust, for example, is Trey and Fishman just kind of like losing their minds. And Mike and Paige feel a little more
Yeah.
complimentary towards the back end of that. And so you get this like 10-minute segment that's just like Fish and Trey like egging each other on, and that takes up, 10
Yeah.
minutes of jamming. This was like I feel like a lot of these jams, because I just re-listened to them this morning as we were getting ready for the episode. They're real headphones listens, and they're kind of the type of jams, if they jam in this style throughout the year, I could see people wanting a little bit more dynamics, but when you actually sit down and give them the time that they deserve, there's so much happening below the surface that there's just a lot to return to. Because like Fishman's doing something, he sounds
I
incredible, and
agree.
Mike's got this really wild tone on, and he's kind of matching Fishman rhythmically, but then he's also like adding to the melody. And like what you're saying, RJ, like Paige is flipping back and forth between synths and his baby grand, and like Trey's not really playing in a showy way. He's kind of just like, let me find a riff and let us all build upon this slowly. And that doesn't have the shock value that like a lot of what we heard last year, but it
Mhm.
has a lot of, it really rewards repeat listening in a really cool way.
All right. So let's see. What should we just go through the whole run? Should we just go show by show?
It's your
Yeah,
show,
let's
man. You
talk about
decide, you
I
pick,
think
yeah.
I heard a lot of we talked about this in our
HF
text
Pod
thread.
with RJB.
Yeah. Probably should do that, honestly. Might help our ratings.
Am I?
Everyone thinks it's Meg's show now, you know.
They do. They
Yep,
do.
so
We might have to do
true.
something about
So
that
true.
next week. We'll see.
People need to know. People
Oh
need to
my
know.
God.
It's not just Meg, guys. We're out here. Brian and I are
Uh,
here still. All right. We were texting about this, but I feel like these were like good groundwork jams they were laying on the first night. You know, they were like they felt like previews a little bit. But like you said earlier, Meg, it just didn't have like the huge jam, but really fun night overall. And the light had like a cool little playful fun jam in there. There was a lot of stuff going on. What do you guys think about? So night 2, I think Brian, we texted about this, but I don't think they should be allowed to play Plasma as its own song, like just as a standalone song. I think it should always be part of some kind of segue transition. It's just such a cool song, and I feel like
Explain this. I want to know what you mean by this.
I think it works better when it's either like something segueing into it, because the intro is like so vibey
Okay.
and has such like a cool percussive intro, and then or coming out of something, it just like feels like and also at the end, typically like when it's in the middle of some kind of segue in a second set, you get like it just kind of melts into the next song. I think just playing it as its own standalone song, like in between Blaze On and Halfway to the Moon, even though it like worked and sounded good, I would like prefer that in a second set in the middle of like 2 or 3 songs that are all kind of flowing together. Just because it's like such a memorable riff, and it's just like such a great
Super
groove that-
vibey.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
I agree. It's a weird like second song of the show.
Yeah. But, besides that, I love hearing it always.
It's such an awesome song. But this first set though, definitely there's a lot of songs in this set. You had thoughts about that, RJ, about the number of songs in this first set, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. I really like Halfway to the Moon. I think it's really
I love that
like,
song. I love
I
that
love
song.
that song.
Yeah.
But,
And 46 Days had really like inspired peaking. That was good. I know that's not your favorite, but it was
yeah.
good. And
We just
some
got to
inspired playing and
we
back on the
just got
train.
to.
But
We talked about this last week, right? Like every song is like, 7 minutes long, and that's fine.
yeah.
That's fine, but that's not like when I look at that, especially in our digital age, where you can see like the song lengths, it's just not something I'm like excited to listen to, only because I just want I just want something that stretches out in a first set. But you got, every all 26 songs or whatever, are somewhere between 4 and 9 minutes. And that's, that's fine.
And this set lacks flow the most, I think, out of any set from the whole run.
Yeah, more of like a grab bag style.
Yeah, like I don't know, like Funky Bitch, Roger, Haley's Gym. That doesn't really make sense to me.
This is what we would call over in BTP land a barbecue set. It is.
Yeah.
You got friends over who do not think about quarters within a fish show. They don't think about best versions of various gems. They just think that like the fish experience is a fun vibe, and you want to listen to music because it's your house, it's your barbecue. But you're like, I can't put on Fukuoka. These people will lose their mind and be like, what the fuck is going on here? 34 minutes of this? Come on. So you put on a set like this because you get fish. They don't get the weirdness. You get varieties of fish. You kind of hear a little bit here and there. The band plays this sort of stuff all the time. I'm in full agreement with you guys. This is not the thing I'm seeking out. I saw a first set like this in Austin in 2018, and I always joke that the most interesting thing that happened during that set was Mike Gordon took off his pants because it was very hot, and he revealed he had shorts underneath, but nobody knew that when he was unbuckling and taking his pants off.
Terrifying.
Quite. The plasma thing, I just looked up 2 versions that stuck out to me because I don't think we got into this when we talked about 1315 a couple weeks ago, but that show has a plasma in it, and that was like the 4th plasma the band had ever played. It's wild to remember that like plasma was a tab thing for a long time, and then out of nowhere Trey was like, maybe Fish should play this in like October 2014, and it's only been played like 40 times since then. But one of my question about it was like, has plasma ever found its place? And I don't know if it totally has. Like the 2 versions that stick out to me are 728 2023 night 1 of the MSG run, which goes Ruby Waves into plasma in the middle of the second set, exactly like RJ's talking about, segues beautifully, has another jam on the end there. And then last summer, Chalk Dust Torture into plasma from Deer Creek, which is one of my favorite jams of the year, is that Chalk Dust Torture. Like, please, if you have not listened to that in some time, talk about like minimalistic connective tissue fish. Like, oh my God, But then the Plasma, it's like 15 minutes and it's got this really wild kind of spacey segment in the middle of it, but it's a direct segue from Chalk Dust into Plasma. And I do think, you know, they're trying to figure out still where does this song go. So maybe let's throw it at the top of the show and see what happens. I think you're absolutely right, RJ, that the spot for it is like midway through the second set, we've fallen into a good groove and we just tumble into Plasma.
Yeah, like what if they played it after 20 years later in that second set? I mean, the Piper was sick, or after
Well,
the
then we would have
Piper.
lost the Piper. But yeah,
Yeah,
after the Piper,
after the Piper.
that changes
Yeah.
the dynamics of the show at that point in time.
Yeah, Piper, Plasma, and then maybe they played
Shade.
nothing, Shade, and then just like, yeah.
Well, also, so can I just say something about the
And
timing?
then the David Bowie that we were asking about. My God.
Yeah, that's it.
We did an episode of Undermine in the lead up to the Fall 97 throwback, and Scott Gray, who's an awesome person and friend, he called me a size queen because I was talking about the length of songs in 62294, which is an awesome name that I'm proud of. But if you think about a 7-minute Runaway Jim, which is what they played the other night,
No.
versus an 11-minute Runaway Jim, which they played on 1229, that's like,
Yes.
those are very different. Those 4 minutes are really like where things get weird and interesting, right? So like, I don't know. I feel like you get a bad rap if you're like, I don't know, a bunch of 6-minute songs, but it just doesn't like offer the opportunity to expand and explore. I think it's very hard for them to like get to play a song with lyrics and then like do anything in less than 10, 12 minutes.
We've gone through a few periods in Fish history, one of which was that like early to mid 3.0 period where you couldn't really for a variety of reasons you couldn't really expect the band to jam with regularity, and so a 7-minute Runaway Jim could still be like a significant thing. We're kind of at a point now where like if they play the 11-minute Runaway Jim, it means they got really inspired, ideas percolated, and they expanded on it. Like that Runaway Jim you referenced from 1229, there's no real need for that to go 20 minutes. It says everything it needs to say, but those additional 4 minutes show a band that is just like locked in and ready to go. I think that like turning it back to this, like this second night, the first set really didn't do a ton for me. These are just songs played fairly well, which is like
Yeah.
the baseline expectation of going and seeing a rock band that you paid $8,000 to see on the beach. The second set is where it's at, and it's amazing that we are in a period in Fish history where they can play a set like set one that is fine, cool, awesome, flip another burger. Set two, though, is like where the magic connects, and there was a period not so long ago where if you got a set like set one, you were kind of guaranteed that the rest of the show is going to flow that way too, and they're just not there anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, okay, so let's talk about the second set. What do you guys I don't really like 20 Years Later. It's not a song that I like really I don't know. I might be am I in
No,
minority there?
the song is I think kind of depressing. I mean, what it's about is depressing to me, but this jam is awesome. And I
Yeah.
am super here for this jam. That's why when they play it, I don't mind, especially when they're feeling good. Like I think you could tell they were feeling kind of good. Like this, everything's right. Mike is just so forward in the mix and just so melodic talking to Trey. And you could see them just communicating to each other and they settle into that like really nice sunny groove. And then you have like a little crescendo and No Men's, which is not much, but Trey kind of brings it right back. He kind of like, he rips for a little bit, but then he brings it back. But then, so you kind of can tell they're feeling it. And the 20 years later, though, it's so dark and stormy and sludgy and Trey's just going off. And I was watching on the live stream and the lights were like going like shutters over and over in like vertical rectangles and it looked fucking awesome. And then they get super quiet and they head into like reverb and dissonance. And that's the space I'm so happy when they're in. So I do like this song because I think it leads to interesting stuff, especially in this example.
Yeah. And I think whatever Mike was doing at the end of Everything's Right Jam is really awesome.
So good.
He was like playing
Yes.
like kind of
Yeah.
fast, right? There's like a fast little riff. Yeah, really
He's
cool.
so good right now.
Yeah. Yeah, he's having a moment. He's having a
Yeah.
moment, you know?
It's
like
Mike's moment.
He's having his red carpet moment right now, Brian. What do you think? Is he having a moment?
I think he's totally having a moment. I think it's fascinating to think about. Certain people on this podcast lobbied for Desron Douglas to replace Mike Gordon as the bassist in Fish.
Who did
because
that? Did
Mike
someone
Gordon-
actually do that?
Someone did that?
Someone
Did I
did
do it?
that. No, you didn't.
Okay, good.
Someone did it. I'm not naming names here.
It wasn't me, was it?
No, it was
I
someone.
think it was Brian.
It was Brian.
I just felt for parts of 2021 and 2022 that he just didn't seem very interested in being in Fish anymore.
Yeah, I think that's
and
Yeah. He needed new gear, new
And-
clothes, new gear, new shoes.
yeah, and I think we've talked about it here. Like Trey's synth pedals seem to mess with what is Mike supposed to do when
That was kinda
Trey's
fucked up.
playing.
Bass.
I mean, it was cool, but it was
It was
also
cool.
probably like, what am I supposed to do now? Cool, I'll just sing Boogie on Reggae Woman, whatever you want, or play the bass line for it that everybody likes. I think Mike, since somewhere around middle of last year, has been, if not the most impressive member of Fish, like probably the most critical to their jamming. And there were a couple of moments, you're absolutely right, everything's right. I was re-listening to it this morning. There's a point where they're like coming back around, and I like looked at the timer on the car stereo, and I was like, I thought this was longer than this. And I saw it had like 6 minutes left. And then Mike comes in, and I was like,
Yes,
oh,
he's the
yes, yeah,
one.
Mike did it. Mike is the reason.
He led the way.
He led the way, and he's got a lot of really cool ideas right now.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think Mike is absolutely having a moment. VT to boot here. The rig reveal revealed his impetuses. Was that from Alpine? I think that that's what he's referring to. He did a whole rig reveal, rig rundown during the Alpine run. That it was like, wait, you have all those cool sounds, and you're not bringing them to the show? What the hell is going on here, bro?
He's got
and
the
then he
Minkin
started to.
behind him now. He's like, I'm back, baby.
He's got the Minkin behind him now. Have you guys listened to that song recently?
Yes, actually, I have.
Yeah,
That song's
That's
great. That
pretty
that
fucking
album,
wild.
I haven't listened to that album in a long time, very long time. And I put it on. I was like, this is your fucking demo. Like, it's awesome. It's so amazing.
Thank you. Taking notes. 20 years later, I don't really like this song either. It kind of sounds. It sounds like an upbeat version of Monsters, which I know you guys like Monsters.
It kind of does, though.
It has that just like dour, like Broadway type feel.
I'm
like
still
so-
upset. Yeah.
It's so
Cheesy.
dramatic and explanatory. Like, just like cool. Like, Fish has been around for 25 years. Cool. But that said, 10/29/13, Mexico 16. I think that's 1/16/16. Very, very underrated version, very underrated show. 10/16/2018 from Albany, 6/30 2019, the Hee Haw version, 10/28/2021, the Numbers Show. There are some outstanding versions of 20 years later that if you can get past the song, and I felt like this was in that category, this will be a jam charted version. To your point, Meg, like the lights were doing that really cool thing where it's like the band is just completely in sync, and Kuroda's got those like waves of LEDs on. And then to have that then go into Piper, knowing what kind of year Piper had in 2023, where we had some really killer versions. I think St. Louis, Albany had a great version as well. I think that you had kind of this like, moment where a song that has been building through the last year meets with another song that just had a great jam. And then you get this 21-minute version of Piper that just absolutely smokes your face.
This is my favorite jam of the run.
Can I just go back to 20 years later quickly?
Yes.
The thing that I really like about it is that they have this kind of like melodic build that's like slow and kind of patient. like out of this kind of droning jam. So it's
Mhm.
not like a peak. It's like a more of a. It just is like it feels more natural to get to that point than like we're gonna build to like a traditional peak and then peak it and then go into the next thing. So I feel like they were already. It kind of set up the Piper to be like more experimental and more kind of organic. Felt like.
I like that. I like
But
that.
the Piper was crazy. The first 20-minute Piper since 1975, Brian.
Uh,
Right?
6/19/2004, but close. Very
2004.
close.
Fuck. I didn't even know they played that year. All right, tell us about
I
that
didn't know
jam,
they played
Megan.
that year. Well, it's funny. It's one of my favorite. I don't know. I think it's kind of battling what's going through your mind because that I just listened to that jam again, and there's something just super organic about that jam. But yeah, just it's weird and dark, and the way that Trey is playing with his effect pedal, it's so good. And Fishman is doing this like incredible rhythm. Like I don't even know how he's doing it. It's inhuman. And the synths come in, like you were saying, RJ, just it's perfect. And Trey does like a Norwegian wood tease. And I just read Norwegian Wood by Murakami. And I've been listening to that song a lot, thinking about that. And it just has everything. It gets blissy and then it has like the big thrashing ending. It's just one of those like journey jams that's perfect. I loved it. And it's something that I was shocked to hear actually that Piper hadn't gone that long in 20 years. I know that blew my mind. Like I definitely thought it had because
It
it's had
started to
so many great versions, but it's weird.
it started to fill this role in early 3.0 of being kind of like a reliable, I'm just pulling it up right now, like a really reliable 9-10 minutes. And the longest
Mhm.
that we got in 3.0 were around like 15 minutes until 2016 had a 19-minute version, an 18-minute version. And then it kind of dipped back down in a late 3.0, early 4.0 era of being around 10 or 11 minutes. I saw a great 18-minute version at Chula, but this was, yeah, the first one. Albany had an
Wow.
18-minute version, but it kind of just like there were some great versions of Piper. I saw a great one at Meriwether Post. Like it seemed like it was a jolt of adrenaline to a set rather than an experimental jam vehicle. And so you never really didn't want to hear it, but it didn't do this.
Well, that's maybe why it's a little interesting because I always feel like when you hear Piper, I was like happy about hearing it. So I maybe that's why I have the feeling, like because of what you're saying. But yeah,
Kind of one of those songs like I never I'm never not wanting to hear. You know, it's in like
yeah,
that category of like play it at any Fish show I go to and I'm happy. It's a good
So
comment here from Foreman. So
yeah,
20 years later was a gag for the
yeah.
20-minute Piper.
When you
I
kept
would
saying 20
love
if
to
minutes,
only
20 years
know.
Trey,
later,
if only Trey was so on top of his fish knowledge.
it was
Trey, we played
confusing.
Sacramento 5 years ago. No, it was 20 years ago.
96
Joe.
is the best year of fish.
Okay, let's yeah, Piper's crazy. Okay, let's go to night 3. I did
Whoa, whoa,
not.
whoa, 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 whoa,
What
whoa, whoa,
what
whoa. We
what
do
nothing
have to
else happened.
mention the Harry
Eh.
Hood in the encore. We
Oh
have to
yeah, that's pretty
absolutely
good.
mention it's a gorgeous,
Yeah.
outstanding version. It builds upon the version from 1230, which was an outstanding Harry Hood with some killer riffing. For
True.
my money, you almost can't do better than a standalone Harry Hood encore. Come on, just
That's
put it
it.
in me. I'm
It's
good.
my
it.
favorite song,
Just do
Brian.
it.
Thank you. I hope you
Is it?
yeah, I hope
Is
you
it
get
really?
to yeah, I hope you guys get to do the Mount Rushmore picks for that.
Who do we have to a Mount Rushmore for
Probably
that?
Megan. Probably
I
Megan.
think it's me. You could
Shit.
change it. You can
No, it's
change
fine.
it if you want.
No,
You
I
can
don't
change
care.
it.
I'm just saying
I'm not.
it's my favorite.
I don't.
It's my
I
favorite
think
song
we
to
need
hear
to have
live.
you do it then.
I
No, I
Brian,
don't
could
want
we
to do it.
change
I don't
that?
want to do it. I don't want
It's
to do
okay. I'll switch it up. Don't worry.
Switch
it. No,
it.
don't.
Switch it.
Do not.
I will say if you want
Already
to see, I
switched.
took some really great video from the
Turn these
floor
all
on
fucked up.
1230 of Trey just absolutely killing that hood. So if you want to see that, you can look on my stuff. It's amazing.
I'd
Can
like to see
we,
that.
as long as we're going backwards here, can we also talk about the nosedive fourth quarter here after Piper?
Yes.
Yeah,
What are
I
your
mean
thoughts
it's
on it?
classic.
Tell
Well,
me.
I mean, the Piper was awesome, and like that that set had a little bit of like it had great energy going, especially like the Everything's Right onward at the end of that
Yeah.
jam. But then like the taste is like kind of a disaster. Shade, love it, beautiful. Wedge, same. Character 0, don't need it anymore. It's
Well,
just
he
like
played
sort
Wedge
of.
in the wrong key too, which is kind of funny.
It was just sort of like 20-ish minutes of like, all right, could have like done something else.
Could have
20-minute
done
David Bowie. You know,
could have done a Bowie and literally melted people's faces.
Coulda
Why? Why
melted,
do you
coulda
choose to just
melted.
play a bunch of songs? It's like you're a rock band and want to play songs. It's weird.
I would be very curious to know if the band thinks about full sets the way that we do. I'm sure that
Probably
they
not.
don't. So I'm sure that they don't. But like it's if anyone near Fish is listening to this, like it's kind of a thing that we all like love. Like there are full sets that you can just list out and be like, oh my God. Like if anyone says 4398 in like my vicinity, like my first thought is not that was my dad's 42nd birthday. My first thought is Roses, Piper, what is it? Antelope Loving Cup? Fuck, now I'm showing my noobness. Or Loving Cup Antelope. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, it's Loving Cup Antelope because the piano
That's
goes
right.
in the Loving Cup.
I was there. I was
Um,
at that show. It was great.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, thanks a
sick.
lot. But like, I'd be very curious to know if the band thinks about because at that point after Piper, play a David Bowie and walk off at 80 minutes. Whatever. Don't
Oh,
even do like the
people would
25-minute
have
David
died.
Bowie. You don't have to. That's a perfect boom, 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 boom. Just done.
I
Get out.
know.
Awesome. Press play, walk away. You got your next 80 minutes taken care of. You don't have to think about music. The stress of what am I going to put on next is gone. Don't you want to relieve that stress, Trey? But instead, we're just like, sure, let's play Taste right here. Sure, the ballad I get. Shade, perfect spot for
It's
sure.
fine, earned it.
But then Wedge and
Wedge,
Zero, it's
sure.
just like we're just playing songs. Like that's
Yeah.
like walk off stage and play a longer encore. I know that this is nitpicking. I know that you're supposed to just focus on the vibe, man. It's just about being there. But like, come on, like we are talking about a band that has mastered in the moment improvisational playing and set listing to a perfect level on many, many occasions, like true
No, like so
perfection
many.
of the art, like true perfection of the art. And when they don't do it, you're just like, did you guys just like want to hang out after this? Because like, I don't know. I mean, was that really what it was? Or,
Well, I think it goes
Yeah.
with what you're saying, what you started saying. Your headline for the show, Brian, is that the bar is so high. They flirt with greatness so fucking much that like we know it's right there. Greatness is like
That's
right
it.
there. And
Well,
so
and
they nail it a lot of times. Some of these sets are great, are incredible. But if you're going to be that good, then you're going to get criticized when you're not that good. That's how it is.
It's
It's their own fault.
and this is not us like we're not like I'm gonna listen to this band endlessly and I'm gonna think about this band and listen to way too much of their music and plot out podcast episodes for them. So like I'm not walking away. Like this is we're just
Because in
critiquing.
this fourth quarter,
No. But like yeah, like persnickety, whatever. Like this is a podcast. What do you want? Like it's almost like when you watch a movie and then the ending of the movie. Like, have you guys seen Conclave?
yes,
not yet.
Okay.
About to though.
terrible
Like,
ending.
the highest brow, like the dumbest highbrow movie ever, but it is like an amazing popcorn watch. And then the ending is just like, what the fuck? Like
Yeah,
you didn't think to insert that in the entire narrative of the story. Like that just is how you end the movie.
they
And it
buried the
totally
lead.
changes the feel of the movie. You're currently watching a movie right now. You have 20 minutes left. I'm not going to give away the ending, but you're watching Paris,
No.
Texas. That is a perfect movie. And it's very hard to do. I understand. I accept it. It's very hard to write a perfect book where the ending both surprises you and adds to the overall vibe of the movie or of the book. These things are hard. Writing a set list in real time that is perfect is hard. But to your point, Meg, we've seen them do it and they didn't do it this night. And I'd be curious to know why. This is why I asked for fish press conferences.
Well, to be fair, like this comment says, it's not new. It is true that this has happened throughout fish history, just
100%.
Yeah.
less commonly maybe, or less frustratingly somehow.
And
But
they're not doing it as often anymore, which
Yeah,
is why
correct.
when they
Correct.
do it, we get to complain about it.
Well, we
Okay,
talked
we-
about this a lot in the top 25 tours. Like
Mm-hmm.
94 and 95 would have a lot of shows that had this huge moment. And then the rest of the set was kind of like, okay,
Yeah.
you guys want to play Poor Heart into HYHU, into Son of a Mule, into Harry Hood? Cool. You just played
All
the
right,
Providence Billet, you know?
now we're going to talk about night 3.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay, so I did not have to go back and listen to every version of My Soul because they played Mama Dance, which was the easiest call. If there was sports betting for Fish, I would have done it because it's just easy money.
Sports betting and press conferences. Like, what are we doing here? There's money
Come
to be
on. We should
made.
do this.
There's
We should do
there's
this.
sponsorship that we could have here. Like, oh my God. Trey, what were you thinking when you launched into Taste there 60 minutes
So-
into the second set?
The Mama Dance actually had a pretty cool jam, I think.
Yes.
Momo's been
and-
good lately.
It's been good. It's been a little bit different. Yeah, I guess that goes back to the New Year's run where they had that little like funky intro.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's cool to see them
They've been playing
push that.
tight. And another
Um,
like 8-song first set, and
Yep.
with a 20-minute jam. This is perfect. Perfect.
We have to let's talk about the Wolfman's brother, Brian.
What's up? You want me to
What
just
do you
like
think of that jam?
Yeah.
shout
Tell us about the
praise now?
Wolfmans.
I thought
it was
it
great.
was a cool groove. It was like a great groove on the back end of it. That was really fun.
It did two things that I really enjoy. One of which was, and I talked about this earlier in the show, but like they were finding grooves within a song that sounded like a unique jam, but still sounded like the song. So like the first
Mhm.
12, 13 minutes, it doesn't really stray from Wolfman's, and it doesn't really need to.
Yeah.
Because the groove that they find is so intoxicating and so contagious. And then around like, what is it, like 14 minutes, you hear them coming back to Wolfman's, and then Trey just hits these chords. It's kind of like what you guys were talking about with the Everything's Right, where one band member says, you know what, actually, let's see what else there is. And that is one of my favorite moments at any point in time with Fish. Like if I'm there, if I'm at home, if I'm listening to past show, knowing that there's like no, we're not finished here is so, so cool. And you get that in this Wolfman's, and it just gets like chunky and kind of aggressive, and it's a little dangerous, like the jam
Mhm.
segment. And it's a cool moment. Like I thought this first set from night 3 really worked and was really anchored here by a Wolfman's.
Yeah, it's a perfect example of that like horizontal groove-based jamming, just really propulsive, really forward moving. And I love the last 5 minutes, like you're saying, Brian. It's super powerful. It's really repetitive, hypnotic. It gets into like a really dark groove. It's kind of like they're jamming, and when they're grooving like this, they're able to lock into like a little bit of that, 97 swing, but now it has such an edge to it. And it has like an edge, like a crunchier texture to it. I'm into it, and I would love to dance to this live. It was great.
So did every night have a 20-minute jam except the first night?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Very
Good
cool.
for them.
Very cool development that we're just kind of in that realm.
Props.
I remember we took a bet before Summer Tour 2023, how many 20-minute jams there would be.
We should do that again this summer.
And I'm into it.
I think I won.
It's
I think I won.
Probably.
probably
I was
just based
the
on track
closest, I think.
record. I'm sure you were.
But,
Yeah.
but who's
If you
who's
didn't,
counting?
if
Who's
you
remembering?
didn't predict it, I'm sure that your fans voted you the winner, regardless.
My fans.
But like, it is interesting to remember that we are just removed. I keep saying this. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be a broken record, but I just want people to recognize how good of an era of Fish we're in. We're just removed from a period where it was like, you probably won't see a 20-minute jam this entire run. Like some people did
Yeah.
Alpine and Dick's 2022, and they didn't see a 20-minute jam the entire run. And here it is, just like ho hum. Here's a Wolfman's brother in the first set. Oh, here's a Fuego in the second set. Oh, last night we played. Like it just happens. It's incredible.
Yeah, and I think even though I would say this isn't my favorite show of the run, but this set too is awesome. It's really good. I
Yeah.
mean, the Fuego is like the main part of it, but even looking at it, like the Oblivion that opens, it goes 15 minutes. And this is like the 17th performance of it. Really nice groove again, like pulsing rhythmic waves. And then this Rarity, they bust out a Rarity, which is always good, Sightless Escape. And it's only the third time played, and it sounded really good. It didn't sound like rusty at all. I thought they sounded really great. And then a Caspian, whatever. And then this Fuego is the fourth longest to date, 23 minutes. And
Is it
then
really the
which
fourth longest to date? That's wild.
which is
Crazy.
crazy. Yeah. And Fuego saving sets everywhere. Saved Mondegreen in night 4, saving this set. Just like, thank you, Fuego. This jam's amazing. And then I love the Beneath the Sea of Stars too. I listened to this again today.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. It's like ethereal and spacey. It's really ambient. It's so vibey. It sounds kind of like Paige's album, Maybe We're the Visitors. It has that vibe to it, like, which I should listen to that. I haven't listened to that in a while. And it came out this time of year, I think, too. It's such a great, I love this jam. It's going to get overlooked because it's like after this huge Fuego, but it's really great.
It's really great. It's really cool. It pushes the boundaries of that song quite a bit.
Some of us would have wished for a direct segue because that could have been a segment. The vibe of it was a really nice counter to what happened in Fuego. But I'm just looking back at Fuego over the last 2 years. 4:18:23 from Berkeley. That's a 20-minute version that complements a really nice set that was the kind of the moment where we were realizing we had the Tweezer and Simple the night before, great run in Seattle. We realized that like Spring Tour was on a total high. 7/29/2023 30-minute version that is really gorgeous, really wild stuff. The last 10 minutes were some of my favorite stuff that happened in 2023. 12:30:23 is good. 4:20:24 nearly a 30-minute version from Sphere where Trey's like playing inside of a match. The Mondegreen version that you referenced, the Albany version was an excellent jam played on the second night, which was not a very good show. I think RJ got that in the draft, maybe Megan, I don't know, but it didn't matter because nobody cared about Albany. And then this version.
So true.
Sometimes you win drafts, and it's great.
This version is just it's really stunning. And to your point, Meg, about like saving sets, the Oblivion doesn't totally get where you would want it to go for like the set opening jam, but it is pretty interesting. Sightless Escape, really cool groove for 12 minutes. And then, but you know, the set is all about the Fuego, Sea of Stars, two very different approaches to jamming. I thought it was the most interesting Sea of Stars since the Mohegan one, 7/19 or 7/9/19.
Yes, that one's amazing.
Yeah, just like shows that. I mean, the first time I heard Sea of Stars, I was like, oh, this is now Fish has their Dark Star. They've got just like an open-ended ethereal jam vehicle that they can just let ride. And it was cool to hear that again. Just incredible stuff.
How long was this one?
I think it was right around 14 minutes. I don't think it was very long.
Yeah, 14 and a half minutes. Yeah, it gets a lot done in that time.
There's some other good ones. 10:26:21 from Santa Barbara is really nice. 4:19:23 from Berkeley, another great Berkeley jam. Has a beautiful Trey riff, but this one I think was a little bit. It was great.
Okay, so
just here giving you guys the underappreciated vibes. That's what I'm here for.
Totally.
I listen to everything.
I mean, I think we got to just keep revisiting this draft. You know what I mean? Just to make sure that people don't forget about it. We don't want
interesting draft
about it. It was.
If you could draft any show from this run in the 2025 draft, what would you take, and how would it beat Meg?
Oh God.
Were you asking that as a serious question?
No, I was asking that as a rhetorical question. Just keep going with the show.
We're not going to beat Meg. It happened once. It's over.
I've only won 2 drafts. We've all won 2. This next one is the deciding factor. And I don't know if you guys can handle it if I win again. So you couldn't even handle it last time, and I didn't even win. It was because it was like not losing, and you were freaking out. So just We'll see. I'm a little nervous to prep for this one,
I'm
but
pretty
I'm
fucking
ready.
calm
I'm
about
gonna-
the whole thing, to be honest. All right,
Yeah,
let's
Are
seems
go.
you
like it.
finished? Are you
Let's
finished?
go to night
Do
4.
you have anything more you need to say about winning drafts?
Oh my god, Megan's
No,
a
I'm
champ.
good. We can talk about night
Fine.
4.
It's fine to be a champ, Megan. Nothing wrong with it. All right, listen.
It feels good. I
Megan,
agree.
speaking of champs, Megan wrote the review of this show, night 4, for Jambase. Good job.
Thanks.
Thought it was good. You had a lot of like interesting takes on some of these jams, so you should bring that in. Trey did the like we're playing this for you because you have a bathtub thing with bathtub gin, which is cool. I think that the Reba had a pretty solid jam.
Mhm.
And I thought it was notable. The Reba Golden Age, and then my friend being a jam vehicle closing out the first set. Just what a great thing, you know? It's just awesome. It's just
That song's
awesome
the
that this
best
song
now.
that they wrote in 1991 or whatever is now like a jam vehicle that can close the set. It's just fantastic.
It's also
That's like-
huge for them now. Like the last 4 times they played the song, it's gone over 17 minutes. The New Year's Eve version almost went 20 minutes, is like a huge part of their, big extravaganza on New Year's Eve. This one doesn't go really far, but it's tight. This song is so inspiring to them right now. It's so cool.
And it never went over like 8 minutes until the Beggar's Dozen, right? Which was like,
Mhm.
'cause it had to as part of jam night. But then now, since 2023, it's just a jam vehicle, which is great. What a fun development.
There are 28 entries on the jam charts. Many of them are 8 minutes long.
Yeah, many.
But then, yes, to your point, Meg, there's one with a nice serene page-led outro jam. Okay. 7:25, 17 jam filled night. And then it just kind of goes back to being my friend. And then we get 7:14:23 from Alpharetta. That is one of the best shows of 2023. 7:30:23 from New York. 12:29. 7:26:24 from Alpine, 17 minutes. 8:09:24 from Bethel, 17:30. 9:1:24 from Commerce City, 17:56. 12:31:24 from New York. Almost 20 minutes. It's tracked as
1 second off.
19:59.
1 second.
One
We
second
do need a
from
20
20.
minute, my friend. This one, and it's wild as well. Like, I remember thinking after Blossom 2015, which is a second set that opens with a 20-minute Chalk Dust into Tweezer. And I remember thinking to myself, like, try telling any Fish fan in 1994 that Chalk Dust Torture is going to segue into Tweezer. Try telling anyone that like this, literally like a closed compositional song is going to become a jam vehicle. It's just
that he wrote to like be like a set closer, like a rock song. Like it's like
if you can do this, you can do Bowie. Okay,
of course,
it's possible.
Of course,
if you can do this, you can do Bowie. I did feel like, not to be the critic over here, but whatever. This is where we get into are the 90-minute sets becoming not problematic, but like this jam builds and then it just kind of dies, because it did feel like this set was a little bit of a hodgepodge in a way that it was okay. But I think the Soul Shakedown was the highlight, and maybe the Farmhouse. That was gorgeous. They kind of just like ended my friend. Like they were going, and then Trey kind of looked at Fishman and was just like, okay.
And we're done here. Yeah. I do want to say about Farmhouse too. They played it 3 times last year, and they're already playing it in Mexico. I think it's becoming more frequent in the rotation. I think for years before that, we were getting it like once, maybe twice a year, pretty consistently. So it's kind of cool. I think Trey's back into Farmhouse.
It's so gorgeous.
Like, they played some really great versions. Like, what was that? Was it at Mohegan last year? They played a really beautiful version.
I mean, I would just encourage anyone to listen to any 4.0 Farmhouse. I'm not joking. Like, they're all stunning. They're all beautiful. They just like everything drops out in the middle of
shimmery.
it. There's no solo anymore. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Um. So did we know that What's Going Through Your Mind was coming?
Yes, because
I guess
Trey's in
we.
love with this song.
Yeah, he is. Especially after Billy Strings sang it, he was like, "All right, I'm in." Um,
Well, this
which
song
was
though has had like an go ahead. I'll go after you. What were you
no,
gonna
I
say,
was just gonna
RJ? I
say it
didn't mean
was
to cut
okay.
you off.
I was just gonna say it was okay.
What was the Billy version?
Yeah, I don't want everyone to think that we're complaining about Billy Strings sitting in. It was great. What a
No, the
special
second
day.
night we are kind of complaining about it
Okay,
because yeah, I
great.
think that's fair. Yeah.
Um, I think this version, to me, they're like, I've noticed in this jam that Trey was using like really. Remember when he was like layering his effects in a way that was like super, like almost too much? It was like a few years ago. He does it sometimes, but like in this run, especially, and then this jam, there's like this layering, but it's really subtle and it's
Yeah.
very it's productive in terms of like moving the jam forward in a way that I thought was really cool to hear. And this like again like kind of a peak that didn't feel forced and didn't feel like the point of the jam, but they like got there. It's really cool. Another monster version.
Yeah, I think what's cool about this jam is that he's like you said, RJ, he's like shifting tone on top of a classic jamming style. So he'll take like this jam could have been just like a classic slow organic build to like a bliss peak, which is what it is really. But then they have this new kind of party trick where they shift tone over a classic jamming style, so they're slightly distorting sounds. So it's a bliss peak or a bliss jam, but it has like just a little bit of an edge to it or a little bit of a intrigue on it. And it's so subtle. I think you're right. It's really subtle, but it's really interesting and just makes everything sound more sophisticated. And this is a perfect, like, organic, slow build to just such a huge, beautiful peak. And then it has that long sustain from Trey. I love this jam. I listened to it again just on the walk home from work today, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And then post peak, like Trey, like really kind of smoothly brings it back to the refrain, and it's awesome. And you just want to say mind, 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 mind all the time after you hear this song. It's just in your head forever.
Yeah, I, I'm pretty blown away by this song on a
Yeah,
lot.
it's awesome.
I think lyrically it's really fascinating. I think the fact that the band is able to um like there's a point where they're like the other three guys are singing their own part, Trey's singing his own part, and then it all loops back around at the chorus and is one of my favorite songwriting tricks that they've done recently. I think that like the melody within the chorus is one of the more heart-wrenching ones that we've heard from Fish, and it's also a song that like I don't know, those lyrics like really make you think in a really cool way. They like bring out a lot of feeling. I think it's very impressive and is one other example of like we're kind of at this point where like there's just no end to the Fish project in view,
Yeah.
and there shouldn't be, because if you can continue writing songs like a lot of artists cannot write a song like this 40 plus years into their career. The fact that they're still doing this and then figuring out these ways to jam it. And if you look at the jam charts, the song's been played 6 times. There are currently 4 entries on the jam charts, soon to be 5. Now granted, the first one is with Billy, it's the debut, but it's still a 10.5 minute version that had, like, a slight jam off of it. Right after that, you get Mondegreen, you get the Dix version, which was outstanding.
And the
You get
Mondegreen one is amazing. It's second set,
right?
huge jam. Opens like it's one of the best jams in Mondegreen.
One of the best shows of the overall year in a lot of ways, like, that you just thought Mondegreen was at another level, right, Meg? The
Mhm.
notes for the Dix version is question isn't when, but if What's Going Through Your Mind won't jam, which is like,
Yeah,
yeah, like, we're gonna play the
exactly.
song that's gonna jam. The centerpiece of the New Year's Eve, and then here, it really reminds me of, Light in early 3.0, where it
Mhm.
was this meeting of a new song that speaks a lot to where the band is at that point in time. Um, and then because of the song content, we then jump off into the band just wants to jam this. And so you get the best of both worlds. It's outstanding stuff.
I just want to say, just in terms of the song, like this is a good example of the combo of Tom and Scott Herman.
100%.
Like this is what they this is like what they do. This is what they've been doing forever, where you can tell it's like different perspectives that are building on each other throughout. And I think it works really well. You know, a lot of this album that this comes from was the three of them, but man, they've been doing this for decades, as you guys know, like Tom and Scott used to email each other lines from songs, and then it became Cavern or whatever. But this is pretty different from Cavern, you know what I mean, in terms of how they're like
This
combining
song
their
feels
ideas.
it's almost like a Dylan song, or like the band, like a song. It has like such an atmosphere and a vibe, and it's situational, and it tells like a big story that you have to like figure out. It's kind of a puzzle. I think it's really intriguing. I think you said it well, Brian. And followed for the second time, just like at Dick's, by an absolutely smoking hot Cross-Eyed and Painless. Like, this version is so good. It's immediately interesting. It's just dystopian, and talk about the synths coming in so well. And this is so cool because Pages on the synths being really light. He's adding all this like shimmery light. And then Mike just comes in with just like this sick bass line that just sends them into that like demented tease of Funky Town. It's so cool and so much fun, and just like the perfect thing you want after like a really big kind of emotional jam is to have like a really sick dance party that launches into like a really weird noise jam. Like, this is them nailing the third quarter. This is like so good.
We were in very clear set of the year territory when they went into Tweezer, and Tweezer had a really solid jam.
Mhm.
I think that we were there. I think that this is similar to what we talked about on night 2. Had the fourth quarter been
Yeah.
tightened up and reflective of what happened in the third quarter, we're in that type of excellent, perfect set territory. That's how you open a set. I'm gonna re-listen to those 3 songs a ton throughout the year. I think that it's just, like you said, Meg, that combination of like a blissy, peaking, beautiful jam with kind of the dystopian, weird, you know, dance funk nature of the Cross-Eyed, and then Tweezer is very chordal and just, it's not like the most experimental Tweezer in any sort of way, but it is like it's what Tweezer does. You go, the song ends and you have no idea where it's going to go. So it's a really good cap to the overall run, and I think thematically in line with a lot of the great things that we heard out of this run. I think that if you'd gone to Mexico coming out of this show, you would have been like, yeah, the vacation was the right call, and I saw 4 really, really good Fish shows. Like, I got everything I needed if you had done that.
Yeah.
RJ, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, the fourth, the last songs kind of just, I've been there on the beach for a first tube, encore in Mexico. It's great. So fun.
I think we probably all have.
It's really
If
great.
you've gone to Mexico, you probably have.
It's great. So that's about all I can say about it after the Tweezer. But yeah, I mean, I think you're right. Those first 3 songs were really very complimentary. But that was kind of the end of the jamming, which is cool. I thought, the run was, like you said, it was a great run. What a start to the year.
Yeah, really, really promising for this year.
When we look ahead 10 months and we're thinking back on 2025 Fish, are we going to say that this was the best run of the year, par for the course? Where are you guys at? What are you thinking? What are your expectations coming out of this?
I mean,
I think
I
they
hope
have a
that
better
it's
run.
Take
I
it
hope
back.
they have a better run. I think they have a better run ahead of them. I mean, if they're playing this well right away, I think they've got more in store. I think
Yeah.
we're going to have some really, really fucking good Fish this year.
I really want to hear, like, I want to, as we've talked about, I want to hear more new sounds, you know? So I hope that like there's
Hmm.
more sonic development. I think I heard like like little pieces here and there in some of these jams, but I think it largely picked up on the 2024 sound, which I do think is kind of an evolution of the past few years. So I don't know. I would like to hear like a little bit, like with Mike being so prominent and kind of contributing new things, I think, for the first time in a while, or at least last year. It felt like that was the start of it. I hope that their sound gets pushed forward a little bit.
Yeah. I think it will from Mike. How about you, Brian?
I'm in the same boat. I mean, I think you always want to be an optimist about this. It would be funny to like go back to yourself in 2016 and be like, do you think we're getting a better run? And then not knowing that summer 2016 is right around the corner. So, you know, I think the optimistic view is, yeah, like they're playing at a great level. And like I said, like we've basically had top tier fish since New Year's Eve 2022, that run. In terms of new sounds, it'll be interesting to hear what they do. I think you're right about Mike. But in terms of, you know, what's coming next, like, man, if you're not familiar with the spring 2023 run, we had it on our top 25 for a reason. I will defend that shit to the death against RJ. That
So good.
they're basically playing those same venues down the coast in the exact same 2-week stretch. I would encourage people to go back and listen to that and get ready for what should be some outstanding fish to come in just 2.5 months time.
That was a good drive by of my opinion, Brian. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, next guys, next week. Nobody even knows what happened in that episode. It was so long ago. Okay. So next week we're doing an album draft. Is that right? Is that happening?
Next week we are doing the Fish
Yeah.
Studio album draft.
Jesus.
And
It's gonna be crazy.
I've got it pulled up
Get
here.
ready.
We've
It's gonna be
got
crazy.
we got 6 categories. We've got, what is it? 26, 27 albums, something like that to choose from. A few unreleased, a few only performed live so that you can get a sense of what we're digging up here. I'm really excited for this. I hope you're excited for this. I hope you're ready for this. I've been listening to every Fish Studio album in chronological order, and now I'm going to go backwards to see if my opinions change. I'm coming in ready. I was
I'm so behind. Fuck.
well, I just feel like I trusted my gut too much on the 25 plus minute jams episode. Plus, I took some risks, and now I'm ready to, now I'm ready to come back and reclaim the crown.
All right.
Okay. Oh, okay, RJ. We've got our work cut out for us.
We got our
Look
work
at
cut
that.
out for us. That's
We
Brian
should
trying to be
publish the
intimidating.
list of albums too. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
we should
publish
do
the
that.
list of albums. Yeah.
All right.
We
So
will.
we're gonna do that. Then we're gonna do Mount Rushmore. Remember to vote osirispod.com/Rushmore. Vote on your tell us your top 4 versions of Bathtub Gin, and then we'll take that all into account for our first show of that series, which is gonna be fun. So we'll see you back here next week for our album draft. Everyone better get listening to albums. You guys ready?
Yep.
I'm ready.
Let's go.
Are you ready,
I don't know if
Megan?
you guys are ready. I'm ready.
All right. See you guys next
I'm not
week.
yet. I'm only on like the 3rd album when we get there.
We're all gonna get there. See you next week.